Hey everybody, today I wanted to do a video where you kind of learn how folks who are renting apartments or homes are able to charge their Teslas. Can be a bit of a pain in the butt because if you're renting you can't really modify the place unless you have a really good apartment complex or homeowner who would allow you to install an outlet or high power wall connector for your Tesla for charging. So I kind of wanted to go over the options that I've kind of found. So I guess let's take a look. So right now I've got my car parked outside. It's just plugged in on the universal mobile connector to a 110 volt outlet. It's okay. I mean, I get about 3 miles per hour of charge on it, which is not bad for for what I can get overnight. I have to limit it, unfortunately, to 10 amps instead of 12 amps, which would give me 4 miles per hour. Because if I draw too much from that receptacle, it goes into like a degraded mode where it drops down to 9 miles per hour, which stinks. Or sorry, 9 amps, which is only 2 miles per hour, which stinks. So just to give you an idea, right now I'm charging. I don't know if you can really see that. I'm charging and it's 9, actually it's fallen into degraded mode. I can see it's 9 out of 9 amps at 108 volts, which stinks. But it gets the job done. If I leave it in overnight for 12 hours, I can get 36 miles, which is not all my commute, but it's pretty good. So let's go over some of the other options that we've got. It's a little cold here, so my other options are a little limited, but I'll still go through them anyways and kind of give you an idea of what's going on. So here are some of the options you have as a renter to give you a little bit better charge than just plugging into a 110 volt outlet, which is pretty horrible. But thankfully these two products are here for you. One of them is the Quick 220 Systems power supply. It's you can find it on quick220.com, and I'll put the link in the description below, along with this adapter from evseadapters.com. It's an L620 to NEMA 1450 adapter, which all universal mobile connectors come with. So what the Quick 220 system does is it takes two separate outlets that are on separate phases of the breaker from the service coming into your apartment or home, and it effectively gives it recreates like a 240 volts or 220 volt circuit, and that allows you to charge at a reasonable rate. I've got a little screenshot here. So when I used it, it's kind of cumbersome because it's difficult to find two outlets that are on separate phases that are close to one another. They're typically far apart, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So for example, I was using it a couple weeks ago, and this was what I got. It was you have to limit it because it's a 1450 adapter, so the car thinks it can pull 40 amps, but you have to limit it to what the thing can actually supply. The extension cords I used were only rated to 15 amps, so I kept it at 15 amps, and you can see that I was getting 193 volts, 15 amps, and that was about 8 miles per hour. It stinks because you get a pretty good voltage drop from the extension cords and then everything else that are on the circuits. But that's not a problem with the Quick 220 system. That's just the service I have in my apartment. So it's okay. It'll get the job done in a pinch where you don't have like a dryer outlet or oven outlet or something like that for if you have like an electric stove. So that's where this thing comes in. This is the NEMA 1430 extension cord I got from Cord Depot. So that's what the outlet looks like. It's similar to a 1450, except the bottom prong is not curved on the 1450. And actually, if I can remove this. This is actually so I went to my local service center. These are discontinued NEMA 1450 adapters that Tesla sold. I called up my service center and our local service center, and they said, "Yeah, we've got a couple left." So I went down and bought one. Great, because it's it'll tell because of how it connects to the universal mobile connector. It tells the Tesla effectively how much you can draw from it, what kind of circuit are you on. So this is the other side of it. So this is a 50-foot NEMA 1430 extension cord that I got from Cord Depot. I'll put a link in the description as well. It's great. It really is great. I was charging a couple days ago, and it allowed me to put in 24 amps at 200 volts, and it's 24 amps because Tesla only, for a safety margin, allows you to pull 80% of the amperage that the circuit is rated for. That gives me 13 miles an hour, which I'll take any day of the week. The only problem is I have to run it from the dryer over here all the way out to the patio over there. And in the winter, if you got to leave the patio cracked a little bit, it gets pretty cold, which stinks. But it's absolutely worth it. When it gets warmer, it'll be great until the apartment complex gets something installed, like a 1450 outlet or something. So yeah, so I'll go through. I'm not going to plug in the Quick 220 system just because it's cumbersome with the extension cords, but it's very simple. You plug it in. You can tell if the device is on two separate breakers, or sorry, two separate set phases, because this will light up here. You also have your own breaker here, so it'll detect. It'll flip if something's drawing too much current from it. What else? And I think that's about it for the Quick 220. Yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and I want to plug in my car and charge while I've got the day off, and I'm going to plug in using this, and I'll give you guys an idea. When you're using any of these types of devices, like an extension cord or anything like that, you got to make sure that the amperage you're pulling is no more than what the cable is actually rated for, because otherwise you can start a fire, which you don't want. I mean, they recommend not using extension cords anyways, but I'm in a situation where I have to, and I know what I'm doing. I'm an electrical engineer, so I know what's going on. So you just gotta kind of make sure you don't go outside of the realm of what the devices you're using are rated for. Oh, and actually, one of the things with the Quick 220 system, you can't plug it into GFI receptacles. GFI is ground fault interrupt. Those are the outlets that are like outdoors or around or in rooms or near areas where there's water. And what it does is it'll if it notices that the current going out is a certain amount more than the current coming back into the wall socket, it'll actually flip the switch, because it knows that there's a short. Like if you dropped something in the sink, it'll flip. So that doesn't those types of when I say flip, I mean it'll shut off completely, so you don't get killed. Hopefully. So the Quick 220 system can't work with that because of all the circuitry involved. So you can't use an outdoor, like I can't use the outdoor outlet that I showed you guys earlier. I have to use the one just over here, along with the one over here as well. So that's kind of what you have to go with it. And it's a pain in the butt, but in the pinch, it'll give you a little bit more juice than a 110 volt. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 1430 extension and kind of show you guys what kind of power you're looking at, and we'll go from there. So one of the other things I forgot to mention with the Quick 220 system, this is a little tip I learned. I think it was from actually I'm not sure where it was from, but there was a kind of a little tip on how to figure out which breakers are on which sides of the phase of the service. So you can see you have all your breakers on the left side and all your breakers on the right side. Typically all the ones on the left side are on the service, are on one phase, and all the ones on the right side are on another phase. So if you look here and you see, well, these ones are on the kitchen counters on it, could be on a separate phase from the bedroom or living room. So you may be able to kind of narrow down which outlets you want to try, because otherwise you just have to try every single outlet until you see that blue light go on the Quick 220 system. So and also you can see the amperage that the outlets are rated for. If you see, like, it says 15 amps there, 20 amps on this one, and you see these are two put together. So this is actually a 220 volt breaker, just like this one's a 40 amp one. And this is actually the one that I use for the dryer. So the NEMA 1430 is a 40 amp breaker. Oh, sorry, you know what? I'm talking about the wrong one. this is the dryer. This is a NEMA 1430, so that's why you only pull 24, or Tesla allows you to pull 24 amps out of it, because it doesn't want you to pull way more than it should and flip the breaker and, you know, cause any sort of damage potentially. So now I just wanted to give you guys an idea of this 50-foot extension cord and kind of its charging performance. So I unplugged my dryer, which you can see there, and then I plugged in the extension cord and have it running all the way. Oh, there's Franklin. Hey, Frank. All the way out here. And as you can see, I got to keep the window or the door cracked a little bit because, you know, it's got to go through somewhere. And now you can see I'm plugged in using the 1430 adapter, and the Tesla is charging. Now you're probably wondering, you know, what kind of charge rate are you getting? So I'm currently getting 200 volts at 24 amps, which is 4.8 kilowatts. And in order to figure out the kilowatt, you know, what kind of power output you're getting, you just multiply volts by amps, and that's equivalent to 14 miles per hour. So yeah, so it's gonna be pretty sweet charging off this. I probably won't charge to full. I'll probably drop the charge limit down to the daily amount. I only leave it on, you know, range mode when I leave it plugged in overnight with the 110 volt outlet, because it never reaches full charge, and I just want to keep it at you know, as charged as it can be by the time I wake up in the morning. If that's, you know, 5 to 10 miles over you know, the 90% charge, then I can live with that. So yeah, so as you can see, it's going to take about 6 hours to reach my 90% charge, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, if you like this video, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and if you have anything else that you want to see, just, you know, leave something in the comments, and I'll do my best to show you guys. I think probably up next I'm going to do the other charging options for like quick charging. So that'll be like CHAdeMO adapter and the Tesla supercharger, obviously, and then maybe high power wall connector stuff as well, public high power wall connectors. So let me know if there's anything else you want to see. And yeah, like and subscribe, and leave any feedback in the comments. Have a good one.